and I don't have to be overly independent, because people do want to take care of me, and they always have. There's not a lack of people taking care of me. It's the allowing that I couldn't let happen for people to take care of me in a way where the nervous energy that surrounded having a ring on my finger was gone, because I'd walked my mind, I'd visualized it in a way that felt safe and in a way that I felt comfortable within myself. And that, my friends, is changing your self-concept. Hello, beautiful conscious creators. I hope that you have started your day with nothing short of health, wealth, peace, love, and light. So today I'm going to take a bit of a more relaxed approach to what it means to have a self-concept, and how by changing a self-concept, you in a sense change your reality, you change your reaction to things. And the less you deny yourself the things that you desire, the more you realize that you are able to think less and less about those things, because you allow them to flow through you. So why I say this is that I remember as a young girl, I grew up very independent. I need to preface this by saying that I've always been quite far away from home in terms of schooling, and I've always, had to do things myself. My family has my back all the time. That is a given. It's just I was away from school, so if I had a problem, an immediate problem, I couldn't call them, or I had to do it myself. Get it, find the solution, solve the problem. Always in a problem solving headspace, and this developed this deep sense of independence within myself. But that also translated into being too overly independent, because relying or allowing people to help me was so unfamiliar to my spirit that if someone tried to help, it would cause a bit of distress, because I know I have this. Hello, another butterfly, hello. It would cause a bit of distress inside of my system, because it was unfamiliar to me. And so one of the things that it trickled into, actually this is something that I had been saying for a very long time. It's that I don't want to get married. And this is a two-parter. This is because partly I didn't feel deserving, the whole sense, the idea of the trauma that I, based on the trauma that I had. And secondly, I was overly independent. I believed that I could do everything myself. And by believing that and thinking that was, and having that as my truth, then it disconnected me from wanting to be in a union or some form of partnership where there would be codependence involved. Because when you are in a marriage or in some sort of partnership, a union that is very solid and has longevity in it, you develop a sense of codependence with that other person. Now, having had that mindset, I realized that I was denying myself a possibility, or if that desire were to present itself in me. I realized last year that it would be so easy for me to deny it, to not allow myself to flow with thoughts, or let those thoughts flow freely through me without having a certain level of denial about them, based on those two beliefs or that set way of thinking that I had, that I was independent. And secondly, a part of me didn't believe that I could make something last. No, that's not the right way of putting it. But I didn't believe I deserved that. It was more about feeling like I didn't deserve it. And now, having realized that if it's a desire that we're to, or if it's an experience that a part of me, the soul being within me, wants to experience someday in the future, I don't want to hold myself back or stop myself from allowing the experience to flow through me, or to deny the experience on my path, solely because of the fact that I had a limiting belief behind it. And so I thought to do the work of changing this concept, this idea of marriage and what it actually means to even be married and stuff, and then and try study it from all angles, see why, challenge my perception of it. So one of the things that triggered this want for change is that this desire or this need to challenge my perception of union, to challenge my perception of marriage, is one, I realized that it's okay to lean on people. It's okay. I don't have to have things under control all the time. It's okay. And I don't have to be overly independent, because people do want to take care of me, and they always have. There is not a lack of people taking care of me. It's the allowing that I couldn't let happen for people to take care of me in a way where if I was feeling down, I could rely on them in that respect, right? And secondly, so one of the things that triggered it is I've had strangers and a friend also, strangers and a friend propose, propose to me. It almost felt as if the thought process behind marriage existed in the part of me that lived in a fear-based reality. So wanting to change that within myself, I did a bit of an experiment where I went to a jeweler and I asked this jeweler to try on rings. Why not? I had nothing to lose. So I did go to this jeweler and I tried on a couple of diamantes. Oh no, diamantes are fake stuff. No. So I tried on a few rings. So there was this really pretty one, right? It was a blue diamond. It was such a gorgeous ring. Tried it on, and every time I put it on, my hand would shake. I had this nervous reaction in my body. It was almost as if I was afraid. Nothing was happening. No one was proposing. Nothing of that nature was happening. But my discomfort with the thought of marriage was causing a nervous reaction, just having a ring on that I was trying on, because the thought of it was scary based on how I perceived it, based on if this were an experience that I were to find myself in, it would be too frightening to even stay in it long enough to make it last for a long time. So I had to change my perception of it. And fast forward, I went home, meditated on it. I was like, it's safe to be in a marriage. It's safe. I started using affirmations that were positive, that were healthy. Started doing research, learning, understanding of, trying to figure out the understanding of what it means to be married, what it looks like, what it would look like for me, because other people's experience does not define my experience, regardless of what I have seen, regardless of what I know. Their experience does not define mine. So I had to heal that part, that independence, that being overly independent and not allowing people to help me, that idea of, is it something that I deserve? Is it something that, if it were to happen to me, could it even happen to me? And having learned that anything is possible, if the desire is within you, it has been planted in you, and that means that reality exists. That reality, if you can imagine it, if you can perceive it, if you can what? If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. If you can, yes, something along those lines. That reality exists. So I don't want to deny myself the experience if it were to present itself on my journey. So having to, so changing the affirmations and saying, creating a positive outlook on it, walking in it or visualizing it from my perspective in a healthy way, visualizing it from my perspective in a way that is loving, in a way that it is a worthwhile experience for me and I do not have to be afraid of it. Having those affirmations, changing my perception of it, doing the meditation and grounding myself in it and saying that when I perceive it, if this is something that I do end up experiencing it, this is how I see it turning out and playing itself out for me. I don't have to rely on other people's experiences to know what it will be like for me. And yes, there are experiences that one can learn from, the wisdom of people who have been through it and know on a deep level what it takes to be in such a committed union. Learning from those people is important, but it doesn't define my experience. So yes, meditation, all of that. A few weeks later, because I love this blue diamond ring. Oh guys, it was gorgeous. Oh guys, it was gorgeous. It was so beautiful. Trying it on, the first time I went back after just doing the healing work behind it, doing the healing work behind the idea of being in a committed union, my hand didn't shake because I'd visualized this ring enough on my hand to say, this is safe to have it on my hand. It's okay. I do not need to be afraid of having a ring on my hand. I do not need to exist in fear. It's safe to have this thing on my finger. And yes, having done all of that work, having visualized it to the point where I actually felt comforted. Comforted is not exactly the right word, but having visualized it to the point where it was natural to see it in my mind and feeling safe around it, when I went back to that jeweler and tried this beautiful ring on, I felt okay. I felt safe, and my hand, it did not shake. It was as if I'd lived it before. There was no fear behind having the physical ring on. There was the nervousness, the nervous energy that surrounded this, the nervous energy that surrounded having a ring on my finger was gone, because I'd walked my mind, I'd visualized it in a way that felt safe and in a way that I felt comfortable within myself. And that, my friends, is changing your self-concept, and it's creating consciously the experience that I want to feel in whatever desire I have in my heart. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. My name is Gang. I don't know if I did a proper introduction, but thank you for listening all the way to the end. My name is Gang, and I am your accidental therapist.